Hello everyone, welcome to Full Grown Gaming's Let's Play of Banjo-Kazooie, and you might be wondering why we're on the dashboard of all things. How can we play Banjo-Kazooie on here? And that is because Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, for that matter, are actually on the Xbox Live Marketplace. And I'm sure it has something to do with the fact that Microsoft bought, Rare way back in the day, or Rareware at that time, I don't even know what they were. Regardless, all of the Banjo games are actually on the Xbox now. I wish that you could get them on the Wii Virtual Console, just because I would rather play it there, I guess. And one of the things that you can notice right away is that there is no dancing Nintendo 64 logo here anymore, obviously because it's not even a Nintendo console. And you can see that it's actually the Rare logo instead of the, the Rareware logo, which was in the original. And I decided just to skip that opening cutscene, I don't want to waste time or anything. And one thing that's kind of weird is if you're like coming from the Nintendo 64 version of the game, is that you can actually pick your hard drive and stuff like that. I mean, change storage device, look at this. I mean, it's just kind of jarring to come from a Nintendo console where there's nothing close to a hard drive, even being thought of at the time, to playing it on a modern console and having to pick your hard drive, having to deal with achievements, being able to talk in party chat while you play your Nintendo 64 games. I don't know, that's just one thing that I've always thought was... I kind of like the fact that they're bringing old games. I mean, this was brought to the Xbox Marketplace, I think, in like 2009, so it's been here a while, but I like the fact that they are, bringing old games back. But the story here... Oh, by the way, this game has, as you can hear right now, obviously, has dialogue, but the characters actually kind of act the dialogue out as Grunty's picking her nose here. I think she flicks it off. But, so I'm not gonna read the dialogue. I mean, it would be kind of redundant for me to read the dialogue, have the characters read the dialogue, and it would mix all together and wouldn't be good. So I guess what I'm gonna do is just kind of like react and comment on the stuff that they're saying, because I guess it'd be more beneficial to explain the story and stuff. So let's go ahead and do that. Here we have Grunty looking into her like pot or kettle of green junk, and in it she can see a reflection of Tootie, which is Banjo, the main character's sister, actually. And the plot basically is that Grunty thinks she is the most beautiful person in all the land, and one glance at her, I mean, you can obviously tell that's... I don't even know what you would call that, a lie, but I guess she's lying to herself. But she looked in her little pot, and she can see that Tootie apparently is the most beautiful woman in the land. There's a couple of... She's a bear, first of all. I guess no humans live here, or maybe the pot has a preference for bears. And also, Tootie, to me, looks to be about 6 or 7 years old. Maybe up to 10 years old. I would not go any higher than that. So that's kind of weird. But also we have oh man, almost said his name. Oh, I guess I can just go ahead and say his name. His name is Bottles. And Bottles' function in this game, or the reason that he's in this game in the first place, is that he teaches characters or Banjo mainly, new techniques and new moves and stuff like that. So, for instance, there's a move where you can kind of like walk on Kazooie's legs. I'm going weird now. Alright, there's a move where you can, like, walk. It's called the Talon Trot, where you can walk on Kazooie's legs instead of Banjo's, and you can walk up steep slopes and stuff like that, and you don't get that until Bottles teaches it to you. So, it looks like Grunty's actually coming out of her lair, which one thing is kind of weird about this, is that Banjo's house, first of all, it's the only house in this whole area, and they picked to build it right next to a Wicked Witch's lair. So that makes absolutely no sense, but whatever. I guess it's a video game and we wouldn't have it without it. But she's gonna come in high here in a second. I don't know why. The point is she's supposed to be... Oh, also, before I get into that, Grunty actually talks in rhymes, which can be kind of funny at times, but, Alright, so now we have, looks like Banjo sleeping in bed, not even paying attention to what's going on. Kazooie, why is Kazooie even, like... I've never known why Kazooie and Banjo were even, like, together, like, friends or anything. Did he find... By the way, Kazooie's a girl. Alright, so now, I guess... I think what actually finally wakes Banjo up is Kazooie falls over. Oh, maybe he was awake. Okay. Alright, so I think the point was that Tooie wanted to go on an adventure. She kind of mentioned that a minute ago, that she wanted to go on an adventure, and Banjo was asleep, and she was talking to Bottles about it, kind of complaining, I guess. And that's why she got stolen, because Banjo wasn't doing his job as a brother. But now you can see we have kind of like the wimpy jump. If we do the, we press Z, actually, it's not really Z, it's left trigger, but there's a move where you can, like, flip up in the air and stuff. We don't have any of that, so let's go ahead and talk to Bottles here. In the original Nintendo 64 version, you can actually skip all this dialogue, and right here you learn that his name is Bottles, the short-sighted mole, which actually comes into play in the next game a little bit. But you kind of learn who he is, and he'll teach you... Oh, in the Nintendo 64 version, you can skip all this dialogue, but as far as I know, there's no possible way to skip this dialogue in the Xbox version, and the only reason that would be an issue is if you want to do like speed runs or something like that. And obviously I'm not really doing a speed run. I've already wasted time demonstrating that we don't have the moves that we need. But also right here, one thing that I do like about this game is it gives you the option to skip learning like the tutorial at the beginning. So I'm gonna decline the training, and Kazooie, you bet we're good enough. That's kind of Kazooie's personality right there. She talks down to people, and she's like the witty one of the group, but now you can see we can roll, do this little flappy in the air thing. This is the move I was talking about earlier. We got this thing, which is hardly ever used. Well, we'll use it in a minute, but as far as fighting enemies and stuff, it's not really used all that much. One speedrunning move that I know is, there are a couple of moves that I know that people use in speedruns that I'll show you guys along the way. This is one game that I actually have always wanted to speedrun. And by the way, I just collected I forgot what they're called, like a honeycomb, I guess, an empty honeycomb. And when you get, I think it's 6 or 7, I forgot the exact number, you get it's kind of like an extra heart for Ocarina of Time or like a Zelda game, but it gives you an extra honeycomb, which is the unit of health in this game. So it looks like 6 there. But this is one game that I've always wanted to speedrun, and I'm not a huge speedrunner by any means, but for some reason the collectibles in this game are just, it appeals to me to do a speedrun in this game. I don't know why. And another thing is this game is definitely a glorified fetch quest. For those of you who don't know what a fetch quest is, it is basically something like just take, I've never played Skyrim, but take a game like Skyrim or Oblivion or Fallout or whatever, and any quest that makes you have to find something or a certain number of something, like a perfect example is... Oh wait, I skipped one there. Yeah, it's over here. My perfect example is in Fallout 3. I think it's the Broken Steel... I forgot. Oh, it's the Pit, I think, DLC, where they make you find the steel ingots or whatever, or iron, I forgot what they are. Whenever a game makes you find something, or a whole lot of something, that's what Joe and I call a fetch quest. And I'm not sure if that's like a widely accepted term or not, but that's what people call it, I guess. Anyway, this game is all about finding a whole lot of stuff. As you can see, we're finding empty honeycombs. Eventually, we're going to be finding Jiggies, which we'll find in a minute. We got to find Jinjos, which we'll get to in a minute too. And we also got to find notes, which we'll get in this episode as well. And one kind of cool thing, if you don't want to go all the way around, hopefully I don't screw this up, is roll and flip. Oh, I did screw it up. At least I didn't fall in the water. In speedruns, what people do is flip up here like this instead of running all the way around. And also another kind of cool speedrun move is if you come up here, I don't even know if it's possible in the Xbox version, is you can flop. No, you can't. I don't even know if you can do it, but you can fly around that corner right there, and Bottles won't talk to you right here. So that'll definitely save you a couple seconds if you're looking for a record time. And also, he just says, "Look out for me inside." How is he able to like even get in there? Is he able to dig through these walls to get into the lair? Otherwise, that means he'll have to walk through the mouth here. And I've never seen Bottles outside of his, like, little dirt hills or whatever. Oh man, Banjo, you're too late. She's already captured. I guess the game's over. That's one thing, like, what takes so long for them to, like, get this little plan worked out? And just, like, the details of this game right here. Look at Grunty, like, hunched over in there. I thought that was funny. I don't know. But I guess Grunty has no confidence in Banjo because she just said that he wouldn't be able to make it here in time. And Klungo is the stereotypical henchman of the game here. And what his like signature thing is that he says way too many S's. But it looks like the doors are closing. I mean, we've got to get there quick. Something's gonna have to happen. Well, I guess not. I just thought that was kind of weird how at the beginning of the game they show the transfer like thing already almost done, and then you can take however much time you want to get through the game. Alright, so now, if you come over here, before we go over there, that was kind of weird. If you come over here, there's a level in here, but to get in there, you have to complete a jigsaw puzzle, and that sounds kind of weird, but I'll show you after I get this little, it's called a Jiggy. Alright, so the Jiggies are basically kind of like the stars of this game, like if you've ever played Super Mario 64, but I guess Banjo does a little jig here, not to make any puns or anything. But if you get a Jiggy, or however many jiggies you need to get into the next level. Every level has a different, like, requirement that you need for the number of jiggies, and this one only requires one, obviously, because you can only get one before you go into it. But if you come over here, you can see an incomplete puzzle. And to enter the world, as Bottle's telling us, we must fill in the missing spaces with the jigsaw pieces. And, alright, Bottles, come on. But yeah, or actually, I think it's in Banjo-Tooie, where you actually have to place them in, like it's an actual jigsaw puzzle. But in this game, you just hit A, and it'll fill it in for you. But that's all that is required to open up the first level here, which is Mumbos Mountain. And Mumbos Mountain is a perfect opening, I guess, to the game, because it has little to no... I mean, it's perfect for, like, a beginning platformer, and that's also something else I want to talk about, is how this game and Super Mario 64 are kind of similar, but I think this game is actually much better than Super Mario 64, because it's just... I don't know, I much prefer this game to Super Mario 64. I guess because there's more of a storyline. I mean, I know the first game is... I guess both games are kind of about rescuing somebody, but for some reason this game just appeals to me more than Super Mario 64, and there's a whole lot more to do. There's a whole lot more humor, and there's a lot more... I don't know. Things to collect, I guess. But here we're going to learn our first move called the Beak Buster. It's kind of like the ground pound. Actually, it's exactly like the ground pound. I don't like the sound of that, Banjo. Pretty much, Kazooie, and to some extent Banjo, are going to be the comedic relief of this game. But this is the Beak Buster, I think is what it's called. There we go. And that's pretty much how you take care of these huts over here. I mean, this isn't... Alright, so I don't even know where I was going with that. But I just picked up a note, actually, was what that was called. And this is an egg. And you might be, what are all these things we're picking up? Eggs are actually the projectiles of this game. You actually shoot eggs with Kazooie. And one thing that's kind of cool about this area right here, and this is by the way, a piece of energy if you ever run low. In the original Nintendo 64 version, you could climb up this place without sliding down, like through some pretty nifty jumping techniques and stuff like that. It was a glitch, obviously, and they patched it for... There was a 1.0 release of Banjo-Kazooie on the Nintendo 64, and there's a 1.1 release. It was fixed for the 1.1, and that's the one I had on the Nintendo 64, so I couldn't have even showed you if I wanted to. But here's another little... the Talontraw, this is what I was talking about earlier. And it lets us, if you see that little rock over there to the right, it will let us walk up the rock when normally we would slide down. And you might be thinking that we could use this technique to climb up that anthill, but no, we can't do that. And one thing that I thought was kind of funny is you don't even need that to get up here. But we will need that later, so... But that was pretty... I think that was what you're supposed to use it for in the first place. But they didn't really make it necessary, I guess you could say. And this is going to be our first Jiggy that we actually get in a world. Each world has, I believe, it's consistent throughout the game, each world has 10 Jiggies and 100 notes. Alright, yeah, oh, and you can leave, I don't know if you guys noticed, but at the beginning of the level there was a start pad, I guess that's what they call it, where you can jump on it and exit the world and stuff. I'm not sure if you can exit the world through here. No, you can exit the game, and if you exit the game, by the way, I might show you that at the end of, or some episode, I don't know when I'll show you that, but if you exit the game, basically, that's giving up. And it will show I'm pretty sure that's when it shows the cutscene where Tooie actually gets, you know, absorbed or transformed or whatever by Grunty, or when Grunty steals her beauty, I guess. And I don't know if I just collected a Jinjo. It's actually, I think, the second Jinjo that I got so far, yeah. If you look, by the way, the start menu is actually really helpful. You can see how many eggs you have over on the right. You can see how many red and gold feathers, which we'll get to later. Notes. Mumbo tokens, which we'll get to in just a minute, and Jiggies, and at the bottom you can see however many Jinjos you have. So that's a pretty informative start menu. Alright, so now we gotta go over here to... I'm not even sure if this guy has a name, but the point is he throws oranges at you, and I just picked up an orange on his tree, which we'll get to in a second as well. But he'll throw oranges at you, which you have to make him throw on these little... I don't even know what you would call them, like little... switches, I guess, on the ground or something like that. But once you do that, a Jiggy will pop out. And we can collect it, obviously. I guess his name is Conga. But I'm not sure, like, if he just said basically we found his gold, why would he make it accessible by switches on the ground that can only be activated by oranges? That makes no sense. Another kind of cool speedrunning technique is if you kind of roll here, you can jump all the way over here to this platform without... If you go past that little log that I jumped from, he will carry the orange all the way over there, and you won't be able to, you'll like waste time walking slow with that orange, but if you jump over here, you'll automatically be on the platform and collect the Jiggy. I bet at this point you guys can tell that I really want to do a speedrun of this game. I would never do it on the original, I would never do it on the Xbox, even though it's kind of cool that it gives you a leaderboard where it keeps track of time, but you can get way lower times on the Nintendo 64. Anyway, here's Bottles with our third technique of this level, and he's actually shooting, or teaching us how to shoot eggs out of Kazooie's mouth, actually. And he's also telling us that he can shoot, or she actually, excuse me, can shoot eggs out of her rear end, and that sounds kind of weird, actually. I'll show you guys in a second. But we have to use the eggs, actually, to shoot at the Klungo, or I forgot whatever his name was already. Conga? Yeah, Klungo's the guy at the beginning. Man, I'm going crazy. But you can actually, before I shoot at him, let me just show you that you can shoot backwards. Nah, forget that. I don't want to waste any eggs. But you can actually shoot at Conga. I forgot his name already. This is embarrassing. But if you hit him once, he'll throw an orange at you. You gotta hit him again, and I think he'll throw 2 at you. Yep. And it's pretty kind of difficult to get hit by those things in my experience. Like, I mean, I don't religiously play this part of the game or anything, but I don't know if I've ever been hit by those oranges. You pretty much just gotta jump before he throws them at you, which makes sense. Alright, so now let's go over here. Over here we'll find, yep, another Mumbo token, which is the 4th one. In this level I think there are 5. And there's also a Grunty switch, which makes a Jiggy appear up there, which is actually outside the level, and doesn't really count as a Jiggy from Mumbos Mountain, if that makes sense. It actually counts as a Jiggy from Gruntilda's lair. And Grunty's lair has different Jiggies, I guess, from, like, the Jiggies that you collect from the lair. By the way, let me show you this. I'll explain the Grunty's lair in a second. These things are actually really good for energy if you're low on health, because if you destroy, you get 3 honeycombs. And I guess the point is that was a beehive or something like that. So I guess that makes sense that it would give you more honey, I guess. Or maybe not, I don't know. Alright, so now we get the blue Jinjo over here. And we got it underwater, by the way. As far as I remember, there's only one level in this game that has anything to do, like a main, like, that is centralized or on water, I guess you could say. But it is still kind of difficult to swim in the water. Sometimes it feels kind of clumsy to me, and if you're going for a speed run, it will definitely throw you off anytime you have to go in the water, or for me anyway. And one thing that another speed run technique is if you jump up here, you can actually just jump out of the water that way, instead of having to go all the way over there to get out of the water. So, you know, I might live stream maybe like speed running attempts. I've learned a lot about speed running, like getting ready for this Let's Play here, because speedrunning is one thing that I've always been, like, fascinated with. I remember seeing, like, the 50-star Mario speedruns all the time and stuff like that. Or maybe it was 70. Yeah, it was 70 star Mario runs, stuff like that. So, if you guys are interested in the speedrun of this game, I'll see what I can throw together. And also, another thing that's kind of... Oh, no! Great. Alright, at least I got out of it. Another thing that's important to know about this Let's Play is this is the first one I'm actually recording with my new laptop, and the way it's situated, and also, by the way, I've never done a live Xbox Let's Play before. And by the way, I've just got the 5 Jiggies, or the 5 Jinjos, which gives me an extra Jiggy. And so I've never done an Xbox live commentary Let's Play before, so it's kind of weird how I have to position the mic. Hopefully it turns out okay as far as mic quality and stuff like that, and also I hope this isn't too hard to edit because I've never used this laptop before. But anyway, as soon as you get, I think, what is that, 6 of these, you can get this Jiggy right here. And that's one of the easiest Jiggies you can possibly get in this game. Another one you can get, let me get this Mumbo token right here. That's all 5 in this level, and there's another Jiggy up here. I knew I wasn't going to get enough air on that one. I think that's 7 already. This level, by the way, I think the record for this level is like, that's 8. Is like 5 minutes or something, so I don't think I'll ever get to that level. But the point of this right here is you gotta shoot eggs into this mouth, or did I say the power of Juju? Wasn't that a game or a TV show or something? Anyway, and there's also a hidden empty honeycomb over here you gotta get to complete, or you don't actually have to even get those, but if you don't get it while you're in the level, I think you have to leave and come back, because you won't be able to get up there again if you don't leave one of those up. If you don't leave one of the totem pole things there, you won't be able to jump high enough to get it. Alright, so now that we have 9 Jiggies and 5 Mumbo tokens, I'm going to go in here to Mumbo's little abode, I guess. First getting the jiggies that he has stashed here. And the point of Mumbo is he's like a shaman. Yeah, he even says, best shaman in all game. Can't help Banjo and Filthy Feathered One. The funny thing about Mumbo is he gets into a rivalry with a character in the second game, which I really want to do Banjo-Tooie. I don't know if I've mentioned that, but that is one of my favorite games of all time, and I can't wait to do it. But Banjo-Kazooie is one of my favorite games of all time, too. Anyway, Mumbo will transform Banjo into different sorts of creatures, I guess. And this one just happens to be an ant, which kind of makes sense when you figure that there's an ant hill in the middle of the level, I guess. Or actually, it's a termite. So I don't know if it's an ant hill or a termite hill. I guess it is a termite hill, because all of the other bugs in this area look like you, so it would make sense for them to be termites as well. I always thought that's kind of like a shocking revelation. I always thought they were ants, but I guess not. The ant can actually stick to the walls in this area, so you won't... I mean, you can fall off, obviously, if you miss the platform, but you... Come, are you kidding me? He's just gonna sit there. But you can, like I was saying, if you have the original Banjo on the Nintendo 64, you can jump up here with Banjo, actually, instead of having to waste time going for the Mumbo tokens and transforming. But for us, we gotta climb up here the original old-fashioned way. And, by the way, I don't think I've actually shown these. These are the 1-ups. And there was one in Spiral Mountain, which was the original area, that I didn't get, which was behind a waterfall, but I don't plan on dying all that much in this game, so that's why I didn't get it. Alright, so now that is all 10 jiggies in the game, and this should wrap up the notes as well. And there we go on the notes. I found all 100 notes. Yep, like I said, there are 100 notes and 10 jiggies in every level. And if we come over here, we're going to get the second of 2 empty honeycombs. And if we go to view totals, we will see that we have completed Mumbos Mountain in, what, like 10 minutes or so? Like I said, not a speedrun effort or anything, but this is one of the easiest levels that you will find in the game. So I guess it's only fitting that it be the first level. But now that we've got pretty much everything here, we can leave. And if you guys remember, we activated that switch over that grunty switch, which made a jiggy appear above Mumbos Mountain. And it's kind of cool that you have to use the transformation from Mumbos Mountain to climb this little thing here to get this jiggy as well. So that's pretty much the only use you'll ever get out of the termite transformation. And if you go too far away, Mumbo will basically tell you that his magic is getting weak. But if you keep going, you'll transform back into Banjo. So you don't actually have to go back in the level to exit, or to transform back. Alright, so I guess that's pretty much just gonna be the rest, or this episode of the Let's Play, because there's not a whole lot more I can do. I want to try and keep these episodes a little bit shorter than the Final Fantasy episodes, because those got to ridiculous the lengths, I know, as you guys know. But in the next episode, we're going to be going through the 50-note door, which makes sense. We had to have 50 notes to get in there. And before I go, one thing that's kind of important to know is in the original Nintendo 64 release, if you collected notes in the level and you left, they would not stay collected. You would have to go collect them all again. Say if you got 99 notes and you were going for all 100 and you left the level or you died or something, you would have to collect all 100 again. But in the Xbox version, it will keep those collected for you. So if you collect 99, you only got to go collect that one if you die. So anyway, I guess this is probably going to be the most informative of all the episodes, I guess, because there was a whole lot to go through. I guess we're going to talk to Bottles here before we go. But yeah, he's going to explain that this is a note door, which makes sense that you have to have, you know, 50, like I was saying, 50 notes to open it. Banjo, it says 50 on the dang door, just open it. Kazooie was under the impression that Bottles would be able to open the door for her, which is, like he said, not that simple. And also, kind of a cool thing, if you're ever low on energy, you can talk to Bottles and he'll fill it up for you. But that's all there is to opening the door. Another little jig by Banjo and a bow. I was like, what is that maneuver even called? But in the next episode, I know I felt like it in the episode already. In the next episode, we're actually going to complete that little puzzle over here. And we're going to basically go to that level and complete it. So I want to thank you guys for watching this episode of Let's Play Banjo-Kazooie. And I guess I'll see you guys next time.